Hey everybody, welcome to the Illustration Masterclass. I'm Kyle Webster and I'm glad to be here with you today to talk about symmetry modes in Photoshop and how you can use them to design characters quickly. Save you a lot of time. And it'll also help you with your designs because you can bust out some really good shapes that are symmetrical and you can play off of those for some really good results. So what I wanted to do today was keep it simple and just draw a few characters with you all. And while I'm doing that, show you how I can use the symmetry modes in addition to using the lasso tool to isolate which parts of the drawing you do or do not want to have take advantage of the symmetry modes, and ways to play with some of the funkier symmetry modes we have like Mandala and Radial and so on to add a little bit of spice to your designs as well. Okay. So let's say hi to some folks before we get started. I see here that we have Laura and Bernadette and Afroha and Annika and Cody and Steven. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Remember, folks, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, I'm going to be checking the chat at be.net/live. That's behance.net/live or be.net/live. Alrighty, so here we go. I just did a little doodle here before the show, playing around with symmetry. I'm going to do some similar things with you right now. So here's what I wanted to talk about, which is, of course, where the symmetry tools are located, first and foremost. In order to find your symmetry tools, you first have to have a brush selected. And to get your brush tool selected, you want to hit the B key, okay? And let me just turn on my keyboard keystrokes. You should be able to see now if I hit B, you can see that little key right there. This will just remind you which keys I'm hitting when, because it's always good to be reminded of the keyboard shortcuts, which, by the way, I did a class on that last Friday. If you missed that one, go ahead and look back on YouTube for Illustration Masterclass, key commands or keyboard shortcuts, and then my name, Kyle Webster, and you'll find what you're looking for. Okay, so for this though, I'm just using the Perfect Pencil 2, which is in Kyle's drawing box in your Mega Pack, which you can, remember, download if you have a CC subscription, either for Fresco or for Photoshop. You have access to over 1,800 brushes right here. If you're in the app, you go to Get More Brushes. That's in my Brushes panel, drop-down menu here. And you'll be able to download the Mega Pack. And inside there about 10, 11 pencils, maybe 12 pencils with various qualities that are different. And I like this one for sketching. But, you know, they're all good. Okay, so typically if I were going to draw a character, you know, I'd be sitting here trying to work it out, sort of a head shape, some kind, right? I'm trying to keep all this symmetrical, draw myself a little center line, and notice how I hold down the Shift key when I need it to draw a straight line. That's always a helpful thing to do in Photoshop, right? Get my eyes placed there, you know, blah, blah, blah. Got to do everything twice, don't you? You got to jump across that center line and draw everything twice. Get some ears, right? And this is fine, you know, this is a fine way to do it. No big deal. But if you want to speed things up and you've got a lot of work to do and you want to draw more characters in half the time, why not employ some symmetry modes? And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to delete all this. And I want you to come up here to this little butterfly. All right. Tap on that. And I'm going to see that I have all these symmetry modes: vertical, horizontal, dual axis, diagonal, wavy, circle, spiral, parallel lines, radial, and mandala. Okay, lots of cool options here. We're going to start with the very first one, vertical, probably the most commonly used for character design. And you'll notice that when I first place it there, it gives me a bounding box that has little anchors out here that I can play with. And this is just if I want to change the area, okay, within which I'm drawing. But to keep things simple, I'm just going to leave it here as is. and I'm going to hit return or enter on the keyboard. And what that does is it commits that symmetry path to your canvas for the moment. And the reason I say symmetry path is because if you actually come over to your paths here, you'll see this is the symmetry path I just created, vertical symmetry. And the other symmetry paths I've created in the past in this document all wind up living in this panel, which is great because I could go back to any one of them anytime I need it throughout the course of the drawing. So we have this new vertical symmetry now. Grab a slightly different color here, a little darker. And I'll just do the same thing I did a moment ago, all right, which is start drawing that character. But of course, everything I do now, I just have to draw on half of the page, right? So it's going to save me a ton of time, isn't it? Just draw my little nose there. Look at that. So perfect symmetry, takes half the time. And now I've got this character that I'm drawing here. I should probably draw this a little bigger for you. Make it a little bigger. There we go. Yeah. So that is the basic idea. All I have to do is employ symmetry mode, and now I am able to design a character without having to deal with traveling across the center line and trying to make sure that everything works out. Okay? Not at all concerned about it. It just works. Pretty lovely. And how convenient. So I think we'll give this person a coat. And I'm going to turn off these key commands here for a moment, so those don't get in the way for you all. Now see, I can move things around, and when I do, the symmetry line will disappear temporarily because I'm not taking advantage of it when I'm doing these other actions. It's only there for drawing and painting. If I erase, you'll see that, of course, it's going to work as well. All right, so I can get rid of stuff I don't want, and that's very convenient. But I tell you, this is such a time saver, and I do love it. I do love it. And this is really useful for those initial things you're doing, those studies where you're just trying to work out the basics of what a character's silhouette is and their costume and all that good stuff, right? Just trying to work all that out. And that's what I like to use this for. Super handy. And there you go. Now, of course, you say, well, Kyle, I don't want to always have the symmetry turned on. Don't worry. Just come over here and say symmetry off. Ah, so now I can cross this over here. I want to make that slightly different, right? Change it up like that. Easy. But you can also do something with your lasso tool or any selection tool, which is you can decide to isolate an area. So here I'll turn that last used symmetry. See how handy this is? It just pops it right back to where it was. And come back here. Now I'm drawing with symmetry again. And let's say, for example, that I want to have some kind of like a patch right here that I design for this character. And I want it to be symmetrical, but of course if I start drawing it over here, what happens? Well, it winds up on both sides. So simple, all I do is, actually I think I'll put it over on the right side. All I do is just isolate this area, zoom in, okay? And I say vertical. Okay, it gives me another one, slide it over there. Say, okay. Now because that's selected right there, okay, I can draw inside that selection, and that's where the symmetry action is going to be isolated, right? That makes things easy for me. So who knows what this is? I don't know, it's some kind of shape. Okay, deselect. I can go to last use symmetry, pops me right back to the middle again. So I just used that temporarily for that one purpose. If I go to my paths, you'll see that that symmetry though is still saved. If I tap on it, it still shows up over here, but I'm busy using this one right now. So they do get saved, as I mentioned up front, which is, of course, very handy. Alrighty. So there's one fella, just kind of getting warmed up here. I'll play around with basics, show you the basics, show you how nice this is. Knock this back. And if I make a new layer and start drawing, the symmetry line is not going to go away until I say symmetry off. So now if I wanted to clean this up, you know, I could come in here and get a lot more, whoops, careful with the lines I'm drawing, right? There's something so satisfying about using this. I can't explain it, but it's just so fun to whoops. It's so fun to see the line just kind of show up on the other side like that. Really fun. Yeah, and satisfying is the word I would use. It's just satisfying, or maybe the word delightful. It's so delightful. And remember, I can come back and draw that other line later when I need it, right? But yeah, I mean, it's only been about 10 minutes, and already we've got one character pretty much ready to go. And it took me half the time, if not less, frankly, than it would have taken me to try and make this work without symmetry mode. So, gotta say, I am a big fan. I'm sure you all will be too once you start using this mode. Okay. Turn off symmetry, symmetry off. Come over here and just get that done. You'll notice how much I zoom in and zoom out. And again, if you missed the show last week, I do talk about using these key commands to speed up your workflow, right? And that's what I'm doing right now. So like if I want to do a highlight in the eye and just kind of knock all this in, I'm not going to use symmetry mode for that because the highlight's going to be on the left side for both, right? But for adding tone, I could go back to my last use symmetry and I could just do this, you know? That's a time saver for sure. So for coloring, oh my gosh, saving tons of time, tons and tons of time for bigger areas. right? Maybe you want a little shadow there under the sleeve. Okay, so there you go. Those are the basics for symmetry. So why don't we draw another character, and I'll go ahead and do something with the fancier symmetry modes that we have. And I can hide the symmetry, say symmetry off. I can look at the drawing and then just color in these bits that look a little wonky. That's easy to fix. But there you go. Pretty cool. The only funny thing that happens to you when you draw with symmetry mode is when you turn it off, you forget that it's not happening on both sides. So you've been in this mode where you're always drawing everything in symmetry, and you kind of forget. And so sometimes I'll catch myself drawing something on one side of the drawing and then realizing it's not on the other, and then having to go back and redraw it. So don't do that. Okay. All right, any questions? Let's see. Bernadette says, I love the paper color feeling background. Is that ready available in Photoshop? It is indeed. This paper texture comes from, let me think which brush it is. Whoops. So, you know, here's the thing about brushes. Any brush that you have, okay, so like my Pastella, for example, if I go over to brush settings and tap on texture, you'll see here, if I hover for a second, it'll tell me the name of that texture. KTW, that's my name, watercolor paper 900 darker, right? So what you do is you go here, this little drop down, and you go to this little gear and you say new pattern, and just say okay. And it'll add it to your patterns that you have saved. So what you could do then is fill your canvas with it. The paper texture I'm using here is a combination of this one, which is from Kyle Paper Pulpy. If you go to your brushes in the Mega Pack, sorry, here we go. Go into the painting category and select the watercolor fill brush right here, this one. Go to the texture, you'll find it right there. Just save that one, Kyle Paper Pulpy. Sorry, it's hard to say that. Go ahead and save that. And whatever texture you have, is this the pencil I was drawing with? I don't think so. Which one was it? Was it this one? Oh, I lost my pencil. I'll go back and grab it. Whatever texture is that you want to use to fill the canvas, you just make a new layer. You go Edit, Fill, and then Pattern right here. And you come and find that texture file. So here's, like, for example, the one that we had for that pastel, right? So I just fill that in like that. And I'll just knock it back to like 30% or something, you know, and then draw over the top of that. So that's what I did here. I toned my paper, and I had these two textures I like just underneath it. Just feels good to draw like that, you know. Yeah, I like that. But easy to do. You got, if you have all the brushes, you know, you can just go through all the brushes and find the textures you like and save them, and then go ahead and employ them in other ways. You can always do things like make a selection with the lasso tool, go to Edit, Fill, and fill it with a pattern. You know, you could do all kinds of cool, crazy collage style, shape-based illustration work that way. In fact, maybe that would be a good topic for a future masterclass. Who knows? If you all are interested in that, I could certainly talk about it. No shortage of amazing techniques and tricks you could learn to draw digitally. That goes without saying. All right, let's hide this chat, and let's move on. Okay, any other questions though? Before I do that. Which pencil brush are you using, Kyle? Happy HB. This is not the Happy HB. This is the Perfect pencil. So let me jump back up to that one. Mega Pack, Drawing Box, Perfect pencil. There are two of them, 1 and 2. Each is a little different from the other. Zoom in so you can see that. I don't know how clear that is for you all. If I zoom in a little bit more, it might help. Even though now I'm at 200%, you're going to see pixelization, but this is that perfect pencil too, but I do like it. Yeah, plenty of pencils for you to play with in the Megapack drawing box, folks. All right, so we have a new layer. I'm going to set that layer to multiply too, because it's nice where it kind of feels like it's making a mark directly on the paper. And let's go ahead and start with our vertical symmetry. Okay, I'm just going to say sure, go ahead and commit it. Only this time, check it out, I'm just going to rotate like that. What happens when I do that? Well, it's probably what you expect to happen. Okay, which is, yeah, it's going to mirror it this way, right? So now I'm going to have a completely different angle, right? Completely different angle to draw on, and that just makes it a different experience, you know? So yeah, you can do this. You can angle it. And who knows, there are probably reasons for doing this. The only reason I had was just to show you that it's possible. But there'll be times in a drawing where you're not doing this, you're not doing character design or something, but you're actually trying to draw something on an angle that needs to be symmetrical. For example, let's say you've got some vase that's tipped over, and you're tipping it over and you want to draw it that way, and so you just go ahead and bust out the shape for the vase, and you're in good shape, you know? Right, but let's go ahead and clear this one, and we'll start again. Here we go. Here's our vertical. And I'm going to, I think this time, let's see, I'm gonna do something a bit more fantasy-like, okay? So let's try and get some shapes in here just to start off. So we'll actually keep it nice and loose, okay? So there's a head shape I want to work with. Maybe I want some kind of like horns coming off this way. And I want the brow to be like really kind of arched up like this. Nose kind of like that. Big mouth, and then maybe we've got some ears that sort of do this. And this character is going to be like really short and squat. Okay, but like long arms, short legs kind of a deal. How about that? So you can do like long arms. Okay, and but like a really tiny set of legs. In fact, maybe the legs are like they're like animal legs. They've got hooves or something, right? Something like that. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Just trying to come up with something weird here. So you see how fast that is? You know, you just play with shape, and then it's like, oh wait, I got something, you know? But you don't have to do too much to get it not finished, but designed, you know? And then you just keep sort of refining Maybe I want the forearms to get like Popeye style, like get fatter as I go down towards the hands. So it's the opposite of like the anatomy we expect. The shoulders maybe kind of more slope down, traps go higher. Okay. Like this. That'd be kind of fun. Maybe we throw in some little tiny wings. They're like kind of useless, but they're just funny. So there's a character. Okay. What do you think? Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. All right, and so let's pretend that this character is part of a it's like a branded thing like Magic or whatever, where there's some kind of a logo or design that you have behind each character, some cool just geometric kind of a design, you know. And in order to make that look right, what we would do is use one of those fancier symmetry modes that we haven't yet really talked about. So why don't we do that? I'm just first kind of trying to make these shapes have a little bit more, structure, I guess is the word I'm looking for, a little more structure. Give them some kind of like belt thing here. All right, so in order to do that, I will go to my symmetry mode here, and we have all these options. I'm going to start with radial, okay? Now you can go all the way up to 12 different, I think the word is axes. They say segment here, so segments, I'll use that word. For the symmetry, but just to quickly explain how symmetry works, we'll just keep it at 3 for now. For pardon me, how radial works. I'll slide it over here so you can see. Anything I draw over here is going to get repeated in on the right, left side, pardon me, of each of these lines. Okay, so that's how that works. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead, and if I want to move the path, there's a couple things you can do. The fastest thing, what I do is I use the path key command. I just hit P on my keyboard, and when I hit P, there we go. I just hold down the command key. Okay, so while that path is selected over here, I hold down the command key, and it allows me to, oh, look at that. I didn't mean for that to happen. Hold on a second, folks. What does that do? Huh. Now, wait a minute. I'm wondering if you're able to do a oh, this is weird. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. All right, well, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Hang on a minute. I wanna move this. I wanna move this here. This radial symmetry. Okay, come on. Nope, it keeps pushing just one of them. Oh, I just did this before the show. Well, in the interest of time, I'll just go ahead and make a new one for you all. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's jump out here into the background. Yeah, but I do want to come back to that in a minute because I want to see if it's possible to do symmetry that is not totally symmetrical. But anyway, so let's imagine that like you have to have this cool pattern of some kind behind this guy. So, you know, you could do this kind of thing where you're designing some cool shapes or whatever that are part of some larger encompassing theme, you know, for this set of characters or whatever it happens to be, or for a game, or, you know, I don't know. But I love that I could just use these symmetry modes to work that out, or even just try and do a cool design behind him. And for this, I think actually I'd rather use a mandala. So let's go to mandala. Let's bump it up to like 6 or 7 or 8. Let's do 8 right there. I'm going to say slide it on up a little bit. Like that. Say OK. And let's do some cool shape behind this guy. You know, I don't know what this means. We're just making stuff up as we go here. So maybe there's a cool shape like that behind him. Right? Now just turn the symmetry off. I can erase away what I don't need. I could actually go back to last G's symmetry and be faster to erase some bits, since this guy is totally symmetrical at the moment. But I don't want to erase all the bits. I'll just turn the symmetry off. Feeling a little bit wishy-washy today here. I don't need this bottom chunk. I feel like it's cool to just go around the body like that. Okay, so we erase away what we don't need. And maybe we lock our layer transparency, make that a different color, you know? Like that. And then I could, for my character, I'm gonna do the same kind of idea as symmetry here without symmetry mode. Check this out. I'm gonna select half of his body basically, okay? Whoops, forgot the little horns there. So I'm just drawing and making a selection of about half of his body. And I'm going to fill it with white like this. And then I'm going to hit Command J, and that duplicates whatever I just selected onto a new layer. And I have an action set up here to flip horizontal. So I just flip horizontal, hold down the Shift key, and drag it on over to fill in the rest of the body. So it's kind of like I'm using symmetry without using symmetry. You know what I mean? Fill in the bits that didn't get filled in. Merge those two layers by selecting them both and hitting Command E to merge layers. I don't know why Command E is merge layers, but it is. And I can grab this color here for our background and just go a little lighter. Lock transparency. But there you go. So there's our weird demon monster guy. Okay, and you can see how fun it was to do a cool little pattern behind him like this. And of course you can get as complex as you like and really go to town. One thing when you're drawing these kinds of designs is don't forget to take advantage of line smoothing, which if I come up here, while I've got my brush, you'll see here we have this word smoothing. Currently I don't have any smoothing on, but you just crank that up if you're going to do this kind of work, like stuff that's really got a lot of fluid curves in it, and you want it to be nice and perfect. So now when I draw, I should probably use a darker color so you can see that better. So now when I draw curves, they're going to be really perfect and really fluid and smooth and wonderful. And if you're doing this kind of thing, this pattern work in the background or whatever it happens to be, obviously that's going to help you, right? And it's going to look much better. I'll stop there for a moment, see if anybody has any comments or questions. Thanks, Cody. All right, sorry, jumping back, make sure I didn't miss too much. Oh, Wade's here. What's up? Wade, how are you? Alna, how are you? How do you access Symmetry mode again? Yeah, you come up here. You have to have a brush selected, though. You got to have a brush first, so get your brush tool. There's a little butterfly icon up here. You just tap on that, and here are all your options. That's where you'll find it. Alrighty, so we're going to hide these, and we'll jump up again, do something else. See what else we got here. I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Cody, I love it when the experts say, wait, what does that do? Yeah, that really surprised me when I was able to isolate that section of the path like any regular path. I'm not sure if that's a bug, but I want to see what it does. I'm going to try that in a second. Smoothing is so helpful. I agree. Smoothing is the best. Oh, Lay. It's 2:10 a.m. Well, I hope you're going to sleep late tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Patrick's asking, does it only work for the brush? Symmetry mode works for brushes and erasers. That's it as far as I know, unless something's changed in the last few versions of Photoshop, but I'm pretty sure it's just the brush and eraser. For now, that could change in the future, don't know. All right, so just for experimentation, I want to try this here again with the Radial. And I'm gonna commit that path. I'm gonna come over here to paths. I'm gonna tap on that. And then use my path key here, which is P on the keyboard, the letter P. And I just want to see what happens. Okay, so if I drag this over here, what happens when I start to draw? Ah, nothing. It's still, okay, it's still doing what it's supposed to do. So nothing has changed. But the appearance of the path has changed on the canvas. So that to me seems like just a weird bug that it is what it is. But it's not like the radial symmetry has somehow been affected by my dragging that line over there. Okay, mystery solved. Now we know. Again, if you're joining a little later, remember all of the symmetry modes I use in the document wind up being saved automatically here in my paths tab. So that's really handy. Okay. All right, so back to our vertical symmetry. And this time do a oh, weird. I didn't employ symmetry, that's why. Last use symmetry. I don't want that one. Instead, we just go new vertical, vertical, ta-da, okay. All right, so this time, oh, what's going on? There we go. Whew, for a second there, I thought it was getting wonky on me again. No, it's fine. Oh, I have smoothing set to 70. So of course, it's not going to follow my hand in real time. I was wondering what was going on. Ah, thank you. Okay, there we go. Whew, what a relief. Hey, instead of a character this time, just quickly I want to point out the usefulness of this tool. with things like spaceships or vehicles or whatever. You're just trying to design a silhouette for something like that. And I'm terrible at this kind of thing, but just want to point out like how fun it is to play with trying to come up with silhouettes for stuff like that, you know? It's just so easy and fun to just play with this kind of thing. And I love that it's just automatically mirrored for you. So you can see how it'll look in the end, you know? Speaking of spaceships, I discovered with the kids this really amazing set of graphic novels, series of graphic novels. Pardon me. So a few years ago, I was fortunate to go to France for a Adobe event. And while I was over there, I went to this cool little bookstore and found the first in a series of books called Castle in the Sky. Castle in the Sky? Castle in the Stars, not Castle in the Sky. Castle in the Stars, I think is it. And I saw it and I just thought this is amazing. It's like all watercolor, beautifully drawn graphic novel. And I was thinking, well, man, they'll never get the other ones done because it's too much work. And then I waited a few years and I just checked in to see if anything had happened. And holy cow, there were already 4 books in the series. And if you have not seen this series, it is absolutely stunning, really, truly stunning. And I recommend everybody check it out because it's I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful. And the story is really, really cool. Highly original. And yeah, it's just great. So it gets my highest recommendation. Castle in the Stars is the title, I believe. Either French or Belgian author and artist. He might be French, I think. Anyway, it's just really, really good. So, all right. So you see what I'm doing here. I'm playing, but this really is a handy tool for this specific purpose, right? You want to design some cool spaceships or whatever. If you've got more of an eye for that kind of thing, then this is for you. What's the name of that guy? Scott Robertson, I think, who does the coolest vehicle designs and everything. Does them with Copic, I never know how to say that brand. Markers. And he has a few books on the subjects of drawing objects in 3 dimensions, perspective, and like drawing vehicles and things like that for games and films and those kinds of things. All right, so there you go. See how nice that is? Now, check it out. We can, of course, employ symmetry mode to design something on the wings, right? So maybe like right here, we have some kind of an emblem or whatever. So what I'll do is I'll go vertical symmetry and I'll just slide it on over here. Say okay. And I'll do a shape like this or something, okay? Now, that's fine, but what would be even better would be to go dual axis symmetry. Slide that over here, like this, and say, okay. And now, look how much easier my job is. Ta-da! So we have a vertical and a horizontal playing nicely together right there. And that is great. Of course, if I had been thinking, I would have put this on a separate layer, but whatever. Okay, so there's our little emblem, okay? And I'll just grab it, yoink. Hold down the Option key, slide and drag, and snap that over there. Okay. So, pretty nice. Dual axis symmetry helped us out with that. I can go back to vertical, or I can just make my own. Just go vertical, snaps it right back to the middle, and I'm ready to continue drawing with that. Okay? So there you go, there you go. Scott Robertson, Wade is confirming is the name. Yeah. Castle in the Sky is an anime. Yes, Unicorn, wonderful film by Miyazaki. Castle in the Stars, yeah, go check it out. It's absolutely stunning. Is there any difference between the mandala and the radial? Indeed, Marianne. The mandala reflects what you draw like a mirror. The radial only repeats it on one side of every line that is in the spiral shape, okay? That's the difference. Mandala, there's a reflection. Radial, there is not. All right, so there's my spaceship thing. And let's do one more quick character here. For fun. Okay, why not? Why not? Any suggestions here in the chat? Anybody want to see anything? Throw out an idea for a sort of a character type. And I'll see if I can draw that for you in the last few minutes we have here. We got about 7 minutes, 8 minutes maybe. Yeah, you're welcome, Marianne. Yeah, while if anyone's got any ideas, throw them out there. But while we're waiting for those, I'll just quickly demonstrate the difference there with radial. Okay, if I draw a line from here and I go left, see what happens. Every other one's going to go left, go up, da 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 dee, da 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 da. Okay, that's what's going to happen. Now, if I change that to a mandala, okay, with 5. It's going to look the same, but whatever I draw this way is going to get mirrored on the other side. So like that, right? Etc. Okay, so there you go. Bernadette, you want to see a dragon? Okay. See if I can do that. Oh, by the way, another cool thing, I should have mentioned this about working with these radial and mandala symmetries. Like if I want to do 8 segments, right? I can do something like an octopus kind of design, you know? So you can quickly do stuff that requires multiple sides of something, whatever. You know what I mean? That's helpful as well. Back to vertical. Does the paint bucket also work with the symmetry tool, Benoit asks. I don't think so. Nope. Does not. It should though, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be good. All right. Oh, this is also interesting. If you hit enter while you have a brush selected and you just put down a symmetry path, it'll just stroke that line with the brush that you're using. So don't know if that's a bug or what, if it's intentional, but that's what happens. Now, moving on. Dragon, 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 dragon. Okay, so let's do a dragon. dragon. It's a fun one. I'm just kind of making it up as I go here, folks. I don't know what's going on. What's going to happen? I don't know. Could be good. Could be lame. Who cares? That's a good thing. Is like whatever you do, just no pressure. When you're doing this kind of stuff, don't put pressure on yourselves to like make it good or make it be the thing that you think you see in your head or whatever. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is just play with shapes, practice, Okay. It's like this dragon's like kind of hairy, but also typical kind of dragon textures. I don't know. Like I said, it's just happening here now. So whatever's coming out of my brain is what we're gonna get. Bum ba bum beep 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 beep, and we go down this way and okay, there's our sort of dragon-y kind of guy, okay? Good request, dragon, that's fun. This guy's kind of dragon-y. Oh, you know what would be cool? Should give him a tail, right? Turn symmetry off. And let's have a tail, just kind of like going back around that away. Tail. Okay. So, folks, play with symmetry mode and save some time. See what I mean? You're like drawing on one side and thinking it's happening on the other, but it's not. Yeah, see what you can do. And I think you will enjoy it. I think you'll like it. I know I like it. Thanks for watching. Any final little questions? Let's see, dragons are so cool. Dragons are pretty cool. Drag and drop. Does the paint bucket also work? Okay, I answered that question. It does not. No. Yeah, excited to try stuff. That's the point. We want you to try stuff. We want you to experiment. We want you to explore all these different tools and possibilities and features and just, see what comes out of it. You could discover one tool, just one, that makes all the difference in your workflow, in your style, whatever it happens to be. It's like discovering a brush. You discover a brush, it's just like, that's the brush for me. That makes me feel like I'm drawing the way I want to draw. So that's the great thing about Adobe Live. You get to watch, you get to learn, and you get to try stuff out, and cool things happen. Anyway, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Please remember to be kind. I'll see you next week, and have a great weekend. Ciao for now.